Everybody, I want to do a quick little video feedback on your draft for project 1. And just a reminder, these are the 7 things that I always look for. I'm going to start today with number 6, Craftsmanship and Quality. And in particular, I want to encourage you all to be sure that you carefully edit the spelling and grammar on your projects. There were some words that were misspelled purposefully to encourage you to do that. And I went through all of the PDFs that I received and looked at the spelling and didn't look at the grammar, but I did read them fairly carefully. Now, this isn't my job to edit your text, but it is my job to teach you that when you make a spelling mistake on a visual piece, on a piece of visual communication, and then that mistake gets perpetuated, say you make hundreds of copies of a flyer or thousands of copies of a flyer, then that's not good, because it's expensive to print and to recall all those prints and reprint them. Yeah, you want to always be sure that you check spelling and grammar. Also, sometimes your client will give you the text that he wants you to use, but that doesn't mean that you don't need to edit it, because he'll blame you if it's not perfect. So anyway, here we go. There's project 1. We're starting with number 6, and I'm going to just start here at the top. I won't talk a lot about this, but please be sure that you look at all the words that I've circled. The spelling is off, or the apostrophes are off. One thing that I noticed almost every person missed is that the name of this organization is Voyant Communication. I know from the logo that there's no S on the end of communication. So there shouldn't be an S when you write it in the body copy. And the apostrophe should be between the N and the S. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll through these. If you see yours, then you can pause the video and look where you need to fix the spelling. I'll just go through these pretty quickly. Some of these underlines are pretty small, but I hope you can see them okay. Okay, a lot of you did a really good job editing the text. In some places I underlined if there needed to be a change in case, from uppercase to lowercase or vice versa. So just check that. Okay, a lot of you only missed those 2 S's in the body copy. It took me a while to go through all of these, so I hope that I caught all of the errors. Here I think there's a word missing. Just check that. I think this project had the fewest mistakes as far as spelling goes. So a shout out to whoever did this particular project. See those? Hope I'm not going too fast. You can always pause if you have questions. I should also mention that I didn't receive PDFs from everybody. Some people didn't upload their draft at all, and some people uploaded an InDesign document, and I'm not able to open those InDesign documents because I actually use an older version of InDesign in my office than many of you use in the lab or on your computers. So that's why the instructions ask you to please upload a PDF. That way I can put them into my browser and I can mark on them and stuff like that. Okay, that's that. Obviously, spelling isn't the only measure of craftsmanship and quality. So you'll also want to be sure that you check things like the graphics quality. I noticed some of the logos didn't look very clear, and I'm not sure why that is. If you downloaded the large version of the graphic, they should have plenty of resolution and they should look great. quality. Another thing that you might want to watch, especially when you print, is you want to make sure that you print in grayscale, and there are instructions on iLearn how to do that. So there shouldn't be any tints or shades, hues of blue or brown or red, purple. Sometimes printers don't print perfect white, black, gray, and that's what we want on this project. So watch out for those color things. I don't think I'll talk today about message and audience, because I think that you can probably just look at that yourselves. If I see anything, maybe let's go through it really fast and see what we come up with. But I didn't see any projects that appeared to be off as far as the message and the audience go. They all look very Graduate Leadership Conference-y. I would encourage you to consider using Young Typography, okay, but that's not just audience message. So we'll go through that separately. Be careful using old style-ish or even transitional-ish fonts for your big words. It does say established and trustworthy, which maybe that's what you're going for. But I would think that you'd want to look for a nice sans serif for at least for your big typography. Anyway, I didn't quite get down to the bottom, sorry. So let's check that off here too. I'm just going to check audience and message off. Okay, typography I mentioned a little bit. Let's take another look at that. A couple of things I notice here. One, this is almost, or maybe it is, a modern font. I wouldn't do that. It doesn't send the right message. This text here is outlined. I wouldn't do that. Font choices otherwise are okay. It looks like you might have just two typefaces. Be sure that you don't have any more than two. And here's another modern font. I wouldn't use a modern font. And then you have sans everywhere else. Here all sans. I think that's fine. There's contrast because of size, but we'll talk about contrast in a minute. And you might notice all these principles interrelate with one another, so I can't really talk about one without talking about another. It looks like these are mostly sans, but you do have an old style italic here. That's probably okay. It gives you some contrast. Here's a transitional / modern font. So you've got three fonts going on, I think. This looks like probably a Garamond. Not a Garamond. That's not what I meant. A Gill. Is that a Gill Sans? If this is Gill Sans down here, just a different weight, then I guess that's okay. Although this doesn't look like a Gill Sans. So what you've really got is a couple of typefaces that conflict with each other because of their weight and because they're both sans serif. They conflict, and you don't want that. You want to choose typefaces that are very different to work together. Like this is a good combination because they're so different from each other. Now it looks like you've got a sans, an old style, and I can't tell, but I think this is a slab serif. I'm zoomed out quite a bit, and if I zoom in it will mess things up. Well, maybe I can try that. Let's just zoom in a little bit, see what we get, because maybe it's not a slab. Yeah, it's a little slabby, maybe old style, maybe it's the same as this. Because of the size, I can't quite tell for sure. But just make sure you don't have any more than 2 fonts or 2 typefaces total in your projects. Okay, looks like we've got old style, maybe bordering on modern, so it's probably a transitional font. Be careful there. Again, I probably wouldn't go there. Not the right personality for this particular piece. This is old style / transitional, I think. You can probably get away with it. And then old style all the way through. No sans serif anywhere. I don't think you'll reach your audience with that typography. Okay. Sans all the way through. Make sure they're the same typeface. They can have different weights and sizes, but they should be the same typeface. This is an interesting typeface, probably an old style, sans, and then old style. Again, think about your audience. You know, I don't know that you're reaching them if you're not using sans. Okay, so here's a sans in either a slab or an old style. This is probably really boring. I'm so sorry. Something about typography I need to say here. I could talk about it in contrast too, but I'll talk about it here. There's not enough contrast. These words disappear. I can't really see what's going on. So you need more this, you know, transparent white needs to be less transparent or something, because I can't read those words. This is an interesting typeface choice. It's a script, and it provides a nice contrast with this typeface. One issue, though, is that it, as a script, this is actually a connected script, and so these letters were designed to be a certain distance apart from each other. So since you tracked this text out, it doesn't look right. You need to bring those back in together. This is a connected script typeface, and yeah, don't do this to that typeface. If you need to put space in between your letters, then you should choose a different typeface. Okay, just a second. This looks really good. Nice sans serif and sans all the way through. Nice little bit of contrast here in your body copy. I haven't talked about that on the other pieces, but I like that a lot. The contrasting phrases standing out in the body copy. We've got a slab here. That's an interesting choice. Is it working? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Hard to say on slab serifs what they communicate. You know what? You'll want to poll your audience. You'll want to talk to people. Does this send the right message? You might try some other options and see if they work better. It's not bad. Your body copy does look a lot younger, a lot more business-like. I get a little bit of, I don't know if the word is cowboy or something. I get something different from this typeface. And then this one looks great. I love the sans that you're using all the way through. Nice contrast within the sans, and it feels like the right look and feel for this piece. Okay, so that's typography. All right. So the next one, proximity and white space. Let's look at that. Proximity and white space. So proximity says that things that are close have a relationship. Things that are far have less of a relationship or no relationship. Things that are too close or crowded, white space is good. Okay? So let's see, how did we do on proximity and white space? Love this white space, love the space all around. I guess that was a requirement to have a margin all the way around. That helps the white space. Everything in this piece has nice space. I love how these two pieces of text, this bigger one and this smaller body copy, they have a close relationship. Then this space communicates that this relationship is closer than this relationship. Nice spacing here, nice all around. Really like what you've done as far as the proximity, the white space go. You've made your body copy small, so that helps to give you more white space. Okay, good job here on white space as well. And grouping. I think these two lines could be a little bit closer together to unite them more. Otherwise, I think you're great there. You might consider if any of these paragraphs have more of a relationship than other paragraphs. Like space is limited. Does that belong a little bit closer to some of these other conferences available to graduating seniors? You know, does this belong closer to that? I didn't mention widows and orphans, but you do have a widow here, a word that's all by itself. Everybody should watch for those. Widows are actually a problem with proximity because these feel like they're farther away from the other words that they belong to. So not sure how to fix that in this situation. Maybe if you made this text larger, then some of these words would come down here. I wouldn't make all of this body copy larger, but this is a nice introductory place, and it would add a little bit of contrast and fix your widow. Okay, I love all this white space out here, but since you've put everything in boxes, you need to think about the white space within those boxes as well. And this text is crowded on this edge. Okay, it needs more space. I need space in between paragraphs too, because I can't tell where one stops and one starts. It all just feels like a big glob of text. Putting a little space in between things that are less closely related will help that to not feel so heavy, so texty. And then giving me more space within this shape. This is probably enough space within that shape, and that's probably enough within that shape. I like the proximity here. You could maybe bring these lines a little bit closer to each other so that they feel more related. Sorry if I repeat myself. These principles are the principles that I look for when I grade, though, and I want to reinforce that. So even if your project isn't uploaded, if you didn't submit a PDF or I don't have it here to review, I hope you're watching this video. And I hope, you know, even if you fast forward through some parts because I'm repeating myself, I hope you'll at least watch the first few that I look at. Proximity and white space are great here. I love the white space. I love the spacing between things that helps communicate relationships and absence of relationships. I think there's a little bit of a proximity problem here. This box has created part of that problem because it separates leadership and conference. It separates graduate and leadership. I mentioned already the space between these letters. That's actually a proximity issue as well. You don't really want to track letters unless they're small, usually, because small letters start to come together, start to bleed into each other, and so they need more tracking, they need more space. Big words, big letters, not so much. Spreading them out just decreases the amount of white space that you have in the relationships between the letters within the word. I think space looks good here. I wouldn't mind if there was a break, but you do have some breaks over here that help to group things. So nice job on the proximity white space. You all are doing a good job putting in white space. Here's an interesting issue with white space. These two words are too far apart from each other. They don't feel like they're one unit. It needs to be graduate leadership conference. Same between these two. Too much space. Instead of being Graduate Leadership Conference, this reads Graduate ... Leadership ... Conference. So those need less space between them. I like what you did with bullet points here. Yeah. White space is pretty good. This heavy black cross does block things off. You've put some space in between this and the text, so that helps. But I think I would leave even more space. It's feeling a little bit boxed in up here in this corner, so be careful with that. This feels a little bit boxed in right there at the top edge. Everything else looks good. Nice white space on this piece. I think less white space here. They don't feel like they belong together between Graduate and Leadership Conference. Oh, it disappeared on me for a minute. This looks really good. The space between Graduate and Leadership Conference is about right. These feel like they're spaced out a little bit too much. Everything else, great. Great job. Does look like your logo got chopped off on the edges. Just a little bit. At least this left edge. This one feels a little crowded. There's a lot of stuff going on, not a lot of white space. Some of the best white space is getting trapped right here. Let me circle that for you. This white space is trapped. It does have a little bit of an outlet here, but you want your white space to frame. This text all along this edge, yeah, that needs white space. It's too crowded up against the edge of that black. Same thing here on the top of that, crowded. Yeah, I would give some more space in there. You need more white space. Okay, white space here looks pretty good. Nice proximity grouping these two things together. See how that just pulls this title and the date, time, and place together as a unit. Creates a strong relationship. Really like that relationship. Here, I could use more of a relationship. You have to be careful because these ascenders, these pieces of these letters that stick up, those will get in the way. You don't want it to be uncomfortable. You don't want it to be too tight. So you can't pull these too close together, but I think they need a little bit more closeness. Changing the font here, if you decide to do that, would make a difference in how close you can make those. You can also try uppercase. One nice thing about uppercase when words are big is that it's flat on the top, and so you can pull things closer together. Otherwise, white space is pretty good. You do create a little bit less white space because you've got this design element here. But that's your call. You might consider moving these out or doing something so they don't trap your space so much. Oh, and then here's a little tangent I should have mentioned between the P and this bar. They're right exactly next to each other, so that makes them a little uncomfortable. Okay, this space right here is not big enough. Okay, the text is crowded right in there. This is nice. I think I would add an L. I see your big L, and I think that's clever. I think I would just type the L, right there. This word feels a little crowded in that corner. It's a hard call because you want it to be united, but you don't want it to be crowded. So try and find a balancing point there. This text feels a little close to that edge. This text, especially the C and the F, are close to that edge. Okay, so watch space carefully. It's really vital. Beautiful white space here. This feels like there's too much space between. You know, if you wanted to group the date and the time, you know, bring these together. Maybe they're a little bit different kind of information, and so they should be separated from Lincoln Convention Center. But I like this up here. This could maybe be a little bit closer. Try it, see what you think. It feels pretty good right now, but a little closeness there might not hurt. And I'm sorry this video is so boring, so long. I hope you're getting my point though. Ooh, here's a tangent. Do you see that? Right there in that corner. So move those apart from each other. Don't let them be so close. Otherwise you've got beautiful white space and grouping of your text and your image. Oh, here's another tangent. Yeah, that's another place where we don't want focus there. But when you do that, you put a corner right up against an edge, then you create a tangent. This particular piece has a lot of uncomfortable closeness. So right here I need space. 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 That's too close. Okay, you can't do that. You've got to give space. Kind of like in this box, I've got some space. One of the challenges here is that you've put everything in boxes, and so there's nowhere for it to go. There's nowhere for it to breathe. If you just take a box away, does everything need to be in a box? I understand the consistency issue that you're going for, but if you have to have boxes, then you need to bring your text in smaller inside of those boxes. Okay, this word has enough space, but between some of these letters, there's some, right there anyway, there's a little bit of a tangent. Those two letters are uncomfortably close. And then the spacing between these letter pairs doesn't feel equivalent. It feels like there's a lot of space here, and it feels like there's not so much space there. Try and visually make those more evened out. Okay, so that's that. Proximity and white space. Big deal. Let's look at alignment next. We've only got 3 more to go. Please bear with me. Take a pause if you want to go get a snack, go to the bathroom. But keep watching. There's still some good stuff to come. Okay, here we go with alignment. I'm going to change colors. Maybe green will be my alignment color. I have some problems with the alignment on this piece. This is center aligned and this is center aligned. And center alignment is weak. By center aligned, I mean that this word graduate and this phrase leadership conference are connected only in the center, where the line, the vertical invisible line connecting them is not obvious enough. Same thing with the date, time, and place. Same thing with this paragraph. Please don't center line. Same thing with this. Don't center line. Okay? Because you've done bullet points, you have a strong line here, and then you've got another line over here. And because this is maybe centered, this has its own, well, this has this same line, I guess, right down through there. Logo, not sure where the strong visual place is. Could be anywhere. But this isn't aligned with anything. It doesn't feel like it's connected there. It's, you know, maybe it's connected here. Then you've got these that kind of have a little swoop in them. You've got this box and this box, this box and this box. And, oh good, here's a connection between the picture and that box, finally. Oh, and here's a connection, good. So a few things are connected, but too many vertical connection lines. You need to unify those, and you need to minimize the number of alignments and get rid of center line. Okay, I'll try and stop. This could be aligned, but look, this comes in. So this feels like it doesn't quite have a strong alignment. You know, this has a good alignment. Round things need to stick out a little bit past the edge for them to feel like they're aligned. Oh, look at this, beautiful. Everything's aligned right there. Only thing I can think of to make that alignment better is if you connected it to something up here, or if it was connected to this line. The more unified, the fewer vertical lines, the better. And then this is floating. I'm not sure where it's connected. I don't think it quite connects anywhere. Not to anywhere strong. And when you make connections, they need to be obvious, strong connections. Okay, this, connecting it to the second letter in a word doesn't count. It's not obvious enough, or to the second to the last letter. So this is floating. I don't see a connection anywhere else on your page. With Leadership Conference, this is awesome. Nice, strong vertical. Nice, strong vertical here. This maybe connects there too. I can't draw a straight line with this program, but I hope you get my point. That's a good connection. Although this box does trap your logo, so I'm not positive if you want to do that. Why not connect the edge of this logo instead with that edge, or this strong place in the logo? Why not connect it with this? Take the box off and connect that. This G, it feels like it's almost connected, but check that. Because it's round, it might need to poke off to the left a little bit more so that is strengthened. Okay, I like this strong alignment here, but I would turn it over and left align it. Why? Because that will unite it in this direction with all of this other content. Okay, instead of aligning it to the edge of the page, aligning it to nothing, why not align it to something? All of this stuff over here. Okay, I like this strong alignment. The only problem I have with it is oh, hey, it does. It connects to this little box. Nice job. Nice job. I might consider taking this out of the box except for that alignment. Okay, I love this. This is another strong alignment. So you've got everything aligned to something, except maybe these guys, and I don't know how you align them because they're so far apart from each other. There's maybe a little proximity issue. Because they're so far apart from each other, they don't feel like they're together, and they don't align with anything. So think about that. I'm not sure what the answer is there, but think about what you want to do. Yeah. I shouldn't say that. That's a terrible way to end a sentence. Yeah. Okay, so you've got a nice strong line there. Whoops. Don't know how that happened, but I'm just going to move on. Nice strong alignment here. I love that. Okay. Then you've got this and this and this and this. Okay, and maybe this is aligned, maybe this G is aligned with that picture, but I don't think so. I think it's off a little bit. Same thing here. Here comes this picture down, and just misses the logo. This comes down here, and just misses the logo. So find a place to make everything line up with something. Everything should connect. Okay, this is an interesting challenge, but I think it's working. You've used a creative alignment. Now, if I was gonna do anything with what you've done here, this looks great. But if I was gonna do anything, I would find a connection. For example, you've got this strong, invisible vertical line. If it came up straight up here, could this be connected right to that line? Could this be connected right to that line? Could you make Leadership Conference a little bit smaller so that it connected to this line? Okay, think about some of those connections. You can still make more. You've done a nice job here, and this looks good, but I think it could be stronger. At least play with it and see what you get. Okay, logo 2. Where is it connecting? I don't know. I think it's floating. Okay, lots of places to align, and you've done it. Here on the left, some nice strong alignment. You'll need to move the text in, but this is all a strong alignment. Now what about this guy, this little decoration? Honestly, I think I would get rid of the little decoration. Not only does it not align to anything, but it just feels like it's decorative. It doesn't feel like it's adding anything. Your use of gradients is really interesting, and the best gradients, honestly, are the most subtle gradients. So whenever you find yourself going from black to white, that gradient might not be subtle enough. Could you go from black to a darker gray, or could you get rid of the gradients completely? Could this just be a solid black, or a solid gray? Think about that. That's not one of my principles, but for some reason it came up. Gradients are interesting. This angle is interesting. Oh, I should talk about that later when we talk about repetition. What are we talking about? Alignment. Yeah, basically good alignment. Maybe consider bringing your text in to align with something else that's strong. And I'm not sure what that something else would be. But it could maybe be this box. I don't know. I would work on it, but I like that these things, all this text is aligned. This feels like it's floating a little bit, although it's probably aligned with this thing, so that's okay. I need to speed up. I've probably said enough about alignment. You can take a look at these, right here. That could be a better line. I just don't think this is taking us where you want us to go. This is a nice strong line. This is beautiful. This is a nice strong line. This is a nice strong line. Is there a way you could bring these two lines together? Think about it. Could Graduate Leadership Conference come over here so that everything's united, somewhere here in the middle of your piece? Although then this might be floating. So, but it could come over here too. Your logo could be right there, and your date, time, and place could be right there. This has a nice. I love that you left aligned this and kind of right aligned this, which brings these two things together. Same thing here. These two things come together on that line. Okay, nice strong alignment here on the left. This probably connects there. This connects. Yeah, you might consider, could this connect here? Could Graduate come up to that? Anyway, think about that. This alignment is kind of curvy. So you see how this is kind of soft on that edge. Now, I don't mind if one edge is soft, but you've got two soft, curvy edges, and it would be so much stronger if you could straighten that one out like this. Okay, nice job there. You might consider hanging that asterisk off the edge of your straight line. That will strengthen the alignment. Okay, it sounds a little funny, but hang it off the edge. Let conferences available to graduating seniors come over more so that it reinforces that strong vertical line that you've got going here. Yeah, that's connected there. Why not align this to the edge of that picture? You've got white space here. That would just pull this all together. This is floating a little bit. Hard to know what to do with that logo, I admit. But I think you can make it work. Okay, so you've got a nice strong line here, but why not align it to there? You've got a nice strong line here. Two alignments. This text is going to need to move in. It could probably, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure what to do with that. This feels like it's floating. You'll have to do some experimenting, all of you. This alignment is beautiful. Look how all of that pulls together, unites. Makes it so easy for my brain to find stuff, to feel like this is organized information. I don't have to look around. You're using a creative alignment here, which is okay, but it's not as strong as a vertical alignment. You decide. This feels like it's floating a little bit. You know, maybe it's almost aligned to the edge of that picture, but not quite. Okay, this is an interesting alignment. I think it's fairly strong, but it doesn't connect to anything. Not sure what you do. You have a totally different angle here. You've got an alignment here between that text, and then you've got a pretty strong line coming through that piece. So you're doing pretty good as far as number of vertical lines. Oh, I never said anything about that. But there's a tangent that's too close to that edge. Oh, and watch your hyphens. We don't want any hyphens. Okay. All right. Pretty strong alignment. Okay, both sides close. Not quite, almost. You could bring graduate over this way just a tiny bit. Since it's round, it needs to poke out of that edge just a little bit. This is beautiful. I love that strong alignment. Pulls this that way, and this pulls that way. This is floating in the middle. That means it's probably aligned, kind of center aligned with this left alignment. It needs to connect with something on its edges, somewhere here or there, and it's not connecting. This probably is connecting up here and up there. Good. That's good. These connections, whoops. These connections are good. Okay, there's that. And this is the last one. I love the way the top of this looks, but I wonder about strengthening that alignment here, maybe here. It might require that you make this a little bit bigger and move things down. Or maybe you could align the text, the graduate with the conference, and the leadership with the E on conference. You might even think about doing a little bit of careful kerning here. You know, maybe you did. It looks pretty good, but some spaces, like this one, feels a little bit tighter than the other ones. This one feels a little bit looser than the other ones. Generally looks pretty good. It's just a couple places where, well, maybe it's okay. Take a look at it. And I'm not supposed to be talking about proximity right now. I'm supposed to be talking about alignment, and you have really nice alignment. Generally, overall, so good. Yeah, you've got some strong places here. I love that. I wonder what this text right here would look like if you right aligned it. You know, don't get it too close, but I wonder what that would look like. It doesn't look bad left aligned here, but I'd experiment with that, see what you think. Okay, that is alignment. And I think I better stop this video. It's getting way too long. So I'm going to stop it. And what do we have left? We have contrast and repetition. You know, I think you're going to be on your own for contrast and repetition. If you want feedback about contrast, repetition, or any of these other things in your project, come see me. I'd love to talk to you. Honestly, I would love to talk to you and give you some feedback in person. Thanks, you guys. Have a good day.